Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hard4Games channel. I'm your host Tony, and today we are talking about one of the rarest Nintendo 64 variants known to exist. It is estimated that on the low end of the spectrum, about 1,000 of these were produced and given out, and on the high end, around 5,000, which still is very, very low. It is the All Nippon Airways, aka ANA N64. And no, this is not an L, but now that you've seen it, you can't unsee it. I'm also going to be joined today by Retro Allie. I'm going to be talking mostly about this N64 right here, and she'll be talking about ANA's collaboration with Nintendo via their fleet of Pokemon jets. Yes, that is a thing that happened.
Thanks, Tony. So if you don't know who I am, hello, I am Retro Allie. I make a bunch of videos about video game history and preservation over on my YouTube channel. I also stream over on Twitch pretty much every day at 6 p.m. Eastern, so I'm very excited for today's video, and I think you guys will find it super duper interesting as well. Let's just get into it, shall we?
Now, to win this special ANA N64, ANA ran a contest in 1999. It was titled, let me check my notes here, ANA 20th Century Legendary Campaign with ANA Pokemon Jet Part 2. Now, I personally feel that the only way to make this title more epically Japanese would be to add Rondo of Blood at the end of it. So, give me a second here. My made-up name for the contest would be ANA 20th Century Legendary Campaign with ANA Pokemon Jet Part 2 Rondo of Blood. Now, the contest, like I said, was held in 1999, and the winner would receive a bundle with this N64, boxed in the normal Japanese retail box, Pokemon Stadium, and Hey You Pikachu. It's assumed that all of this was only winnable if you were a passenger of ANA's Pokemon Jet fleet, per the name of the contest. It is also believed that the package would be mailed to the winner, not given out in person, which makes sense considering travelers would probably not want to lug around additional luggage. Let's say you're going to a business meeting, or you're attending a funeral, or something overseas, right? You don't want to have a big old box of N64 stuff.
So let's talk about these Pokemon airplanes. They look super awesome, and I really wish I had the chance to actually fly in one of them. So the first Pokemon airplanes were revealed in July 1999 to coincide with the release of Pokemon the First movie in Japan, which, side note, that's personally my favorite Pokemon movie and I think is the best Pokemon movie, just saying. So obviously this promotion pretty much came about due to Pokemania back in the late 90s to early 2000s. They really wanted to capitalize on top of that. So not only was the outside of the airplane decked out in like all these Pokemon decals and art and everything, also the inside was as well. Everything from like the flight attendant uniforms, which if you guys know Kelsey Lewin, she actually tweeted me when I was talking about researching for this video that she's seen those flight attendant uniforms on Yahoo Auctions, which is pretty cool. And they also had Pokemon in-flight entertainment and a bunch of merch you could buy. To no one's surprise, this promotion ended up increasing the amount of people flying on these airplanes specifically, because who doesn't want to fly on a Pokemon plane? So the first two planes to be unveiled were featured around obviously the first 151 Pokemon, and they included Pokemon like Pikachu, Squirtle, Psyduck, Bulbasaur, Clefairy, Mew, Jigglypuff, Mewtwo, and Snorlax. So due to the popularity of these planes, ANA quickly introduced a third plane into their fleet, which was only a few weeks later after the first two were revealed, and it has the same identical outside appearance as the first two. So you could see these three planes flying through the air if you were in Japan and taking a domestic flight. So there was a fourth airplane introduced in February 1999 that was called the US version. And it was put into service on ANA's North American network. So then, in March of 1999, it was announced that there would now be a fifth Pokemon airplane, and basically kids between the ages of 6 and 12 could enter a contest to submit their entries for what the plane was going to look like. The announcement of these winners coincided with the release of Pokemon the Movie 2000, which was released in Japan in the summer of 1999. So this design features Pikachu, Jigglypuff, Togepi, Elekid, Leddyba, and Meowth, among other Pokemon. Note that there's a lot of baby Pokemon and Gen 2 Pokemon in this round, which makes sense. And this design was rolled out on June 20th, 1999 in Osaka. And then 2 other subsequent planes also shared this same design.
伝説のポケモンと夢いっぱいの大空へピカチュウジャンボ誕生 ANA
So now, fast forward all the way to 2011, and now we have our Pokemon airplane, featuring Pokemon from the black and white era of games. Originally, it was intended for children to vote on their favorite designs for the plane, but this ended up being cancelled due to an earthquake and tsunami. Subsequently, because of this, the plane was dubbed the Peace Jet, as the design reflects and sort of expresses a wish for world peace. This aircraft went into service 2 days after the release of the Pokemon Black and White movies. As of 2013, ANA has retired all Boeing 747s in its fleet, leaving the Pokemon Black and White aircraft as the last remaining Pokemon plane. On April 14th, 2016, its theming was removed, which is very depressing to me, personally. So according to this report from Kotaku, they reported that the Pokemon Black and White plane made its last trip on April 14th as a part of the Kumamoto earthquake relief effort. The plane after that went into maintenance, and then all of its Pokemon art was removed. According to Sankei, all of the other Pokemon planes were retired due to poor fuel consumption. Kotaku mentions that this most likely is an age issue because of how old these planes are. So that's enough about the Pokemon planes. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope they do more in the future. I guess we'll find out, but we will go back to Tony now to learn more about this special N64 that we got. So back to you.
Now, as you probably figured out by now, the only thing that's particularly special about this, aside from the history of it, is the plate that covers the jumper pack, or if you choose to replace it, the RAM expansion pack. And that's literally it. But despite this, it remains an extremely expensive console variant. Now, I was talking to Andrew, the owner of this, thank you very much for lending it to us, by the way, and he mentions that there are, to his knowledge, around 6 or so of these floating around online between collectors right now. So there's no real, like, set price, like, not enough of them have sold to be able to, like, guesstimate, like, an exact number regarding how much it's worth, but he estimates anywhere between $1,000 and $2,000 for the console alone. But, as you can probably imagine, what's even more rare than the console alone would be the shipping box. Assuming it was in fact shipped, but the box that the whole thing came in, as you can see here in this photo. How often do you keep the boxes given to you by Amazon? Probably open them up, toss them, keep the item inside, right? Probably the same situation with the ANA N64, as people receive them in the mail, opened them up, were like, cool, and tossed the box, which is why they are so incredibly rare. So big thank you to Retro Alley for joining me today. She is on YouTube as well as Twitch. I recommend you check her out on both. She is a big Pokemon fan, and if you are interested in Pokemon as well, you will definitely find a home on one of her channels.
Again, thank you, Tony, for having me for this collab. I'm really grateful that you reached out because this is such a cool topic. It's just, you know, one of those really weird, niche, obscure things that I'm super into, and obviously, of course, it's Pokemon related, it's N64 related. Sign me up.
Also want to thank Andrew for sending this over. He is a big, avid collector. He posts most of the things he finds on Twitter. You should check him out there. It is a wild ride of just random things that he finds. Always very interesting. And lastly, I want to thank consolevariations.com. Most of our information for today's episode came from there, as did the images, aside from what I shot. But basically, I contacted the owner over there, Donnie. He gave us unique images to showcase, gave us his blessing to pull the images from the site and show them to all of you. So he'd certainly appreciate it, and I'd certainly appreciate it if you gave them a look, especially if you are interested in rare variants of consoles. Console Variations, the name kind of says it all. So check them out. Links to everybody and everything will be in the description below. And aside from that, I'd like to thank you all for watching, to our subscribers, to our Patreon supporters. We'll see you all next time.